Hi there, this is Aaron. This is now the third video when we're looking at the things that I've been trying and the things that I've learned as we're making YouTube videos. I don't claim to be a professional or even good at this. This is purely about I'm an enthusiast and this is what I've learned so far. We've looked at quite a lot of the equipment now, sort of microphones and the recorder and how that fits together to record things. But even with the best laid plans, you can sometimes get back home and think actually that sound wasn't as good as it could have been. Maybe the gain setting was up too far, maybe the gain setting was down too low, maybe the volume's not right, maybe there was a car that came past at just that moment that completely ruins everything. Maybe as what's happening now, the cat's just running past. So all these things mean that you've got a couple of choices. You can either just say, actually, I'm not going to make that video and I've wasted my time completely. You can put it up as it is, or you can put it through what's called post-production and edit the sound to try and make it a little bit better. And that's what this video is all about, editing the sound. Now, first of all, and the reason that we've come outside is I need to show you a couple of examples of sound that has been recorded in different environments, because we do look at it slightly differently. So here's the first one, and what I start off with is first of all just with silence, and I'm doing that for a specific reason, that I just want to isolate the background and the surrounding sounds. Then what I do is a clap for a clapperboard so that I can match up the sound to the video later on in a video editor. Then I'm all ready to record sound. So this is the process. Rise like lions after slumber, in unvanquishable number. Shake your chains to earth like dew, which in sleep had fallen on you. You are many, they are few. So now let's look at some sound that's been recorded indoors. So now we've come indoors and we're going to do exactly the same again. Let a vast assembly be, and with great solemnity declare that you are, as God made ye, free. Old laws of England, those whose heads with age are grey, children of a wiser day, and whose solemn voice must be thine own echo, liberty. So we've got our two samples. Now what I want to do is look at how we take those and put them through the sound editor to try and make them sound as good as I possibly can. Before we get started on this, I just wanted to say, how I got to this point, because suddenly I had lots of new equipment. I had a recorder, I had a microphone, and it was a case of, well, how do I actually use this? And I went online and I found tutorials, and they all say, do this and set everything to this level and it's all going to work. And I did that and I set everything to the levels that they told me to, and it sounded rubbish. Now that's because what they meant is that that was for their voice using their microphone with their computer and their equipment in the recording environment that they were in. Now, clearly, not everyone has the same voice, not everyone has the same microphone, not everyone is using the same equipment. And so I needed to look much further into it to be able to get an idea of actually how to use the software rather than just going blindly through things, because the results were awful. And so what I'm going to try and do here is to show you how to learn what the software and what the techniques do, rather than just say do this. So now we're all ready to start, but I mean really to do this properly I need to show you what's happening on my computer screen. So I'm now going to work, and you can hopefully see what I'm going to do. Now, the first thing to do when working on sound is to get some kind of calibration. So what I do is first of all listen and set my speakers to something that I think is probably pretty well calibrated anyway. And there's a couple of channels on YouTube that I go to, and this one is Rick Van Man's. I think he does a wonderful job with sound. So what I'm going to do is just play this now and see if it sounds okay.
Well, greetings and salutations. This is Rick. I do hope everyone's having a great day. Okay, I'm out and about today, and I've decided to go camping, and I'm on this amazing little campsite.
Well, to me that sounds absolutely fine. So I'm happy with my speakers. I might need to bring them up, I might need to bring them down, but yeah, now I'm comfortable that my equipment has been calibrated with what I believe to be good quality sound. So the next thing I need is to make sure that they're calibrated using some headphones. Now, this is actually a tip that Rick gave me, and he said whenever you're working on sound, always use headphones. Now, these headphones work independently of my machine, so I know that my machine is now delivering sound at the right volume. So now I've just got to calibrate my headphones to make sure that they do the same thing. So that's how we've calibrated our sound. Now, the next thing to look at is what we're actually going to use to edit this. And if I show you, this is a site called Audacity Team. Now, this is a full sound recording package, and it's free to download. It's actually made during the open source software license agreement. It will run on Windows, it will run on a Macintosh, and it will run on Linux. Now, there are commercial packages. Adobe do a commercial package called Audition. For what I need it for, Audacity does everything that I want it to. And so that's the one that I'm going to use, and certainly if you're on a budget, that's the one that I recommend you use as well. So here, down on my toolbar, is Audacity, which I'm just loading up now. I'm going to open a file now. Just as I've calibrated my speakers and my headphones, what I now want to do is find a level, and it's very much the same as, you know, a builder when they first start to build, that it's all about finding a level. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open a file that I know is well put together, and I just want to find what the loudness level is for it. And so I'm going to open, in this case, this is a track that you'll have heard many times before, and it's licensed to me to play in my YouTube videos, and it's called Elysium. And as you probably heard there, that was way too loud. So in my calibrated headphones, this music is just going to blow everybody's socks off. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is on my edit menu, I'm going to select everything. Now you can see that this is a stereo track, and it's also telling me what the kilohertz are over here. Now, your menus may be slightly differently if you're on a PC or if you're on Linux. I'm going to show you where mine are, and then it shouldn't be too difficult to figure out where yours are. So I know that this is too loud. What I now want to do is to find a level that I'm comfortable at. So if I go to my effects menu, and normalize is the first one that I want to look at. Now here I've set it to be amplitude to -1 decibels. Now what that's going to do is it's going to change the loudness of it, and it's going to bring soft sounds up and it's going to bring loud sounds down. The question is whether that's enough. You'll see that that wave pattern has changed. It's changed a little, and it's brought everything a little bit closer together with that 0 decibel level through the middle. Let's play that again and see if it's made that much of a difference. It's still really loud. So we first want to undo what we've done, and then go to Effects, Normalize again. So let's see when I do -4. That's much better, and hopefully you're hearing that this is starting to sound about right. Now that gives me a level, and what I will do is I will make sure that every piece of audio that I work on, the very last thing I do is I normalize it to -4, so that then I've got everything even. So this is the first setting that is really important to find, so that once I've got my decibel level for my equipment on my computer, then I'm on a very even playing field and I can start to create decent music. So yours will probably be different. All I can say is keep listening, and eventually you will find where the decibel level is, and that is the level to which you normalize everything. Now the other thing that it does, if I show you here, is it shows me what a wave pattern looks like that my ears are comfortable hearing on my equipment, and so hopefully the sound that I will make for other people will also be like that. So yeah, you see it's just inside these numbers here, so that now I know that not only what it sounds like but also what a wave file looks like. So what I want to do is to create my other wave files so that they have that same waviness to them, and hopefully then I've got a very even sound throughout. So let's start by opening another file in Audacity. It's asking me now if I want to make a copy of it, and yeah, that's probably a very good idea. The first thing that you'll notice as I've opened this is that I've got some red bars. Now what these red bars signify are that I've clipped on the microphone. I've gone above a level where the microphone is comfortable recording sound. If I click on View here, and there's an option for Show Clipping, see the red bars have gone. It's a really good idea whenever you're working with sound to always leave that clipping on, because that shows me where the work needs to be done. Now I know that here is when I started recording properly. The first thing you can hear is some background noise. That is the clap that we did
Let a
in the
vast
previous
assembly
room,
be,
and you can hear that
and
it's
with
too
great
loud.
solemnity.
So there's several things here that are going on. Now, the first one I want to sort out straight away, which is noise reduction. When I first started to play, you could see that at this point here there was an awful lot of interference. Now any room indoors is going to have interference, whether it's from a refrigerator, whether it's from electrical items, whatever it is, there is going to be interference there. So what I do is I've selected this area with my mouse where the interference is, and I'm going to select Effect, and the option is Noise Reduction. First thing I want to do is to get the noise profile. What I now want to do is to select everything, and I want to apply noise reduction. Now these settings here are the amount that I will reduce noise reduction. It's currently set to 12. What the sensitivity is that I will reduce noise reduction, and what the frequency smoothing band is. Now the frequency smoothing typically is going to be 0. The question is how much I want to reduce it and how sensitive I want to make it. Now a default value would be 6 and reduce the noise on the background by 12. So let's see what that does. I don't know if you can see, but these little areas here have been smoothed out, and if I play it again now, there's much less noise. But
Let a vast assembly be, and with great solemnity declare.
what you can hear is that there's a little bit of underwater sound. That's because the profile took into account other sounds around me. Now what that suggests is that I maybe want to drop the sensitivity slightly, so I'm going to undo that noise reduction. So what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to set the noise reduction now to 4, which is much more gentle. I'm still going to keep the amount that it's going to reduce the noise to 12, but I'm going to try and not take in quite so much. You can see that there's a few things gone there. Let a vast assembly be, and with great solemnity declare that you are as God made you. Now you can hear the water effect before I speak, but once I start to speak it's actually quite clear. So that's the noise reduction that I'm going to stick with. Now the next thing I want to do is to get rid of these clips. And I will do that using another effect, which is the compressor. Now what this does is it looks for everything that is above a certain threshold and it squashes it down. Now the problem is you don't want to do it too much because it will distort, and so the idea is that you keep a very even level of compression and only apply strong compression on things that are really loud. And that's what this graph line is showing. I have here something called a threshold. Now this is the level above which compression will be applied. The noise floor, which is the level below which I will do nothing. The ratio of compression, which is currently set to 2 to 1. The attack time, which is how soon before the actual peak do you want to start to apply the compression to make it more even, and what the release time is, how long before I actually stop. Now Audacity is actually quite good at these settings. Now you can play around with them, you can set the threshold higher or lower. I would say just keep the graph looking as gentle as possible, keep that incline here as gentle as possible. Let's see what happens when we apply it as is with the default. And that's pretty good. What it's done here is it's taken off most of my peaks. I've got one at the start, but that's before I start talking. So let's see what the difference is. Let a vast assembly be, and with great solemnity declare that you are as God made ye, free. That's certainly a lot better. I don't have that same sort of like burst your eardrums sensation going on, but I can see from the waveforms that they are below this 5 limit. And what I'd really like to do is just get rid of these peaks where possibly, from plosives, where I've just caught the microphone and it's gone a little bit more over the top. So there's another effect I can add, which is called a hard limiter. Now this doesn't do anything to what's in the middle, both the compressor and the noise level. The noise level stretches it, the compressor squashes it. So both of those do things to the whole track. What the hard limiter does is just chip off those bits at the top. Now I know, because we've normalized already, that I don't want to do anything really that's over 4, and so I'm going to set my dB limit for the hard limiter to 4.1, which, just a little bit more but not too much, so that I don't want to distort the sound, but I want to keep it within the normalized level that I've set. So I'm just going to chip off everything that's outside of that, and then I'll close it. Now you can see that we're starting to stay inside those areas and the sound hasn't distorted at all. Let a vast assembly be, and with great solemnity declare that you are as God made ye, free. That's sounding really good, and so what I want to do now is go to effect, and the last thing I'll do, which is normalize it. So again, I'm going to normalize this to -4. It's just going to take everything that's quiet up and everything that's too loud down, so that there won't be that much movement because I've chipped everything else off. And now what I can do is to say export my audio. I'm going to say that this is the same track as before and it's been normalized. We've started off by calibrating our sound. We then looked at sound files to find where the wave pattern is. And now what we're doing is we're taking our audio and we are matching it to the calibration levels so that we'll have a very even sound level to go with. So I'm really done with this file now, so I'm going to close it. I've already exported it, so I don't want to save changes. The other one we can look at is the one that we recorded outside. Now, straight away, you can see that there are real issues here with outside. And I always say when we're outside, it's not perfect conditions. This is probably going to blow your eardrums off, but we'll have a go anyway. You can hear the traffic. That was the clap. Rise like lions after slumber, in unvanquishable number. Now, there is something here. If I try and isolate the traffic sound, and if I go to Effect and Noise Reduction, I want to get the noise profile. What I'm now going to do is say Edit and select all of the track. I'm going to go back to Effect and I'm going to attempt to get rid of the noise reduction. So let's just see what happens when I do this. You can see that that area there has been massively reduced. Let's see if it's made that much of a difference. It has made a difference. It's made a real difference, and the level of the traffic around me
Rise like lions
is
after slumber,
significantly
in
reduced.
unvanquishable number. Shake your chains.
Now, quite often when you're outdoors, noise reduction can be a double-edged sword because you can't do anything about the bird song. You can't do anything about the natural things around you, and you probably don't want to. So noise reduction is something to use with care only when you've got something that you can isolate. To take out now indoors, isolating maybe a fridge is an awful lot easier. But it's a tool to play with. That's how it works. So see how you get on. What we now want to do is Edit Select All again, is to go through that process that I've just been through. That first of all, I want to select the compressor, and I'm happy with that level of compression. Now I want to go to Effect again and select the hard limiter. And now what I want to do is normalize the sound, and let me show you how it sounds now.
Rise like lions after slumber, in unvanquishable number. Shake your chains to earth like dew.
So now you can see that the traffic sound has been very much reduced. I've still got the voice and it's been set to a normalized level so that again I could just say File Export. And I'm going to say again that this has been normalized. Now we've actually done that one really quickly. Now what I'm going to show you is a third file. Now I can go through the same process. If I look at the peaks here, that's not actually that noisy, so I probably don't need to add too much noise reduction to this. But if I did, it's noise reduction, then compression, then the hard limiter, and then finally normalizing, so that I can do that really quickly. Now the final thing I'm going to show you is, you may remember on my last video that I said that if you use a mono microphone and plug it into a stereo jack, what will happen is that you will record purely into the left-hand side channel, and so it will only play back through the left-hand side as well. Well, if you look here, it's telling me that this is a mono track, and if it does come through and you have done that, it will show up so that that is a left channel track. And all that you do is just select mono, and well, what I'll do is I'll select left-hand channel, press play. I'm now wearing it's only playing through the left-hand side. Will be for the rest of this. Press mono, press play. I'm now wearing now it's playing through both speakers. So that's how you fix it if you have accidentally recorded onto one channel, and that's really easy. So now we're done with Audacity. And there we have it. So you see that we've taken it from the bass sound that has been picked up by the microphone and the recorder, and then put that through to try and clean it up to make it as level and even as possible. I hope that that's been useful. Please do put your comments and questions below if there's anything that you want me to go over more, if you think there's something I've forgotten. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.